and they did not raise their eyes to heaven out shame of the sins in which they had been committed. And I wrote a record of their petitions and the supplication and the regard to their spirits and their deeds of each of them, and the regard that what they asked, and namely, they should obtain absolution, what that means, and forbearance. Now, what this thing says is this. What it means, I read this to you, and it's talking about, let me explain what this is. When you read this, you might think that, because when you read this stuff literal, you think that it's got to go by every precise word for word. So that's what happened with the Nation of Islam, Moorish Science, and all the other groups. The leaders came and gave them a truth. But the basic truth doesn't have to be an exact science. It's multidimensional. So once they had the truth, they thought that it had to go down exactly like the Honorable Elijah Muhammad said it, or that's false. Or this is the way Noble Drew Ali said it, and you're going to realize there is no such thing as truth. There is no exact truth, because we're talking about chaos. We're talking about that you can only get but so much truth in the physical, because the physical can't transmit the divine truth of God. It can only have variations. So you talk about principles. So these leaders came and taught principles, but the people in these organizations, because we are so much of followers, it's got to be word for word. I don't want to hear it. That shit ain't what our leaders said, word for word. But if you look at the overall concept of what they were saying, you understand? It fits all of what's going on now. So when you look at what's happening here, it's not a literal thing of some people going and asking somebody for a petition. They're explaining something, and the book of Enoch is an eschatological book, or what they call eschatology, which means later. Apocalyptic, it means later times. So the book of Enoch is one of the books, and it's probably one of the most precise books on history. If you ever really get into the book of Enoch, I see why they couldn't put this in the Hebrew Testament, because, I mean, as far as the white men using this thing later on, because this book here is no joke. If anybody ever had the chance to read this thing, it kicks ass. Now, what it says about signing a petition, because they were shamed and they were trying to be granted forgiveness, these evil powers, and they were trembling and they were scared. I just read the petition to you a few minutes ago on all the stuff they started apologizing about. So that means that we are in the hour in the valley of decision. So as a result, I'm saying that maybe the reparation thing that we talk about was a government plan from the get-go. Now, whether you take the money or not, that really doesn't matter, because we're getting out of this thing anyway. So you might want to get the $10,000 or $20,000 just to party a little bit, whatever. I ain't into that. I know personally now I'm not taking this shit, because me, I'm a person of principle.
Because that's what they're going to do. They're going to take the money, go
Jaguars. Niggas going to party like a motherfucker. Now, this is me personally, I got to stand on principle. I'm not taking this shit. Because to me, the people who died in slavery, $20,000, $1 million is not enough. The only thing is worth of people dying in slavery is the cracker's ass. So don't give me no goddamn money. I can go and work for you and get that shit. You understand what I'm saying? Now,
speaking of that, if you take the $20,000 or $10,000, no more going working for Mr. Jones and Mr. Philly no more, because they're going to do it where you take the reparations and that's it. No
plus this here too. Not only that, you take the reparation, you can't come to them and talk no more shit about nothing. Because, hey, based on what the cracker can do other than giving his lives, hell, that's some great shit. Although they print the money, they got the money, they got enough to give each black person $1 million. You understand what I'm saying? But my point is that really it ain't nothing. They print all that stuff. But my point is this. Ask yourself, now being spiritual, now being political, analytical, intellectual, I can say, yeah, I can take the money, I can see paying off some shit. But being spiritual, I got to stand on principle. Because I notice now about black people, we ain't got no more goddamn principles. Fuck the dumb shit. We ain't got no principles. We'll sell the fuck out in a minute. Now, personally, look, I'm saying this is, you know, rock and a hard place. If you're about to get put the fuck out, take the money. I don't know. I can't really say what your situation is. You understand what I'm saying? If you know, I can't sit up here and say for you because, you know, people gonna do what they're gonna do anyway. And it's not as if you take the money, you're not gonna make it. It's because this is not about a moral thing. We are the gods. So can't nothing happen to you if you take the money. You understand what I'm saying? I'm just saying what I'm not gonna do. It's the principle of it. I can't go to the devil and the devil because in the book of Enoch, I got to go through scripture. The book of Enoch say that the gods go see the petition, read the petition, go over the petition, and turn them down and doom them to hell. So got to be one or two motherfuckers to do that shit. I'm going to be one of them motherfuckers doing that shit, still dooming them to hell. So my point is this, because I know, because the reason why I say that is this. Now, try to understand what I'm saying here. Listen to this. First of all, this is what I know about slavery, and I know about time dimensions. Do you know that they got some of our people still in the Atlantic Ocean, trapped in a vortex and a time thing, and their souls still go through the shit that's going on in the slave? It's millions of them trapped over in there right now. What the hell you think when the mothers go back to Goree Island and they go through all that shit? Them women, they lock up and the people start trembling off. That's because souls are still trapped in a dimension that didn't have proper burial. Now, when I went to the Indian reservation, we had to get out about 30 or 40 people out of a vortex. And they said, no, you got to use that melanated energy to get us out. Because now these Indians is not these white Indians you see now. That's Hollywood. The Indians look about your complexion, about your complexion. They wasn't charcoal black, but they was basically your complexion. Take any picture from the turn of the century, they look about like you. So that's melanated people. When we went on the Indian reservation, we had to sit around in a circle because we always take some spiritual seers. So two or three sisters saw what was going on. And there was one little girl running around, and she was anxious because she had a friend that got killed back in the day and didn't have a proper burial. And she was trying to get, and she was stuck in this vortex. And we had to sit there on the ground and grab our hands and say, Wado, which means welcome. Wado, 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 till we pulled all of them out. And so as a result, they put this big winged disc, just like this, a winged disc. They put this winged disc on my chest. They say, here's the thing, they put a winged disc on my chest. They say, you can't see it, but it's there. When I got back to Atlanta, I had this big green ass spot on my back. And I called the other sister, Sia, the sister who could see from Tennessee. I said, I got this big green spot on my back. I think it's from the winged disc. She said, oh, I forgot to tell you. When they put it on there, I saw it. It burned a hole through you. But it was spiritual. You know, they say it burned a hole. It was real hot. This sun they put, and it burned a, and they was rewarding us. They was rewarding all of us for getting them out. Now, my point is that there are people that stuck in the Middle Passage and in slavery and didn't have proper burials and stuff, and those souls are in limbo right now. So my point is by principle, I can't take the money. But then again, on the other hand, I wouldn't sit up here and tell you if the motherfucker start paying you off and stuff like that, no. But my point is it's a cheap shit. Now, the masses of the people, they don't take the money because the masses of the people were not privy to the knowledge, but I was. For whom much is given, much is required, because I was given knowledge and wasn't walking the earth ignorant in the last days. It's just a principle thing. It don't have nothing to do with whether you're going to perish or none of that kind of shit. The reason why I say that is this. Some of you figure I might need to take the $20,000 because my kids need to go to college 10, 30, 20 years later. But this is the beautiful part about it. In the part in the book of Enoch, up to when the government starts to pay people off, that's because it's over. What we're trying to do is we're trying to teach another stuff to get ready for what's coming down, because that's the real deal, the stuff that is hidden. So one of the books is called The Trail of Cthulhu, and the other one is called The Mask of Cthulhu. You can get both little paperbacks and all right. This is the one that came out by Barnes & Noble, but it's interesting. It says, the world where monsters walk the wind and prowl the caverns beneath the serpent. So go back and get the movie Tales from the Crypt, Demon Night. Tales from the Crypt, Demon Night. And they said, they said in the movie, well, before man was here, demons walked the earth. That's nothing but you in your pre-human phase. You see what I'm saying? Your pre-human phase. So in Christian iconology, you will see a dragon, and it'll have different heads of the beast, and one of the heads will be man. You understand what I'm saying? The head of the beast that's a man is when the particular beast fell into the physical and got wounded. When the head healed, it became the face of a man. The head of the face of the man is up under the man's head, which is the pineal gland. The other demons is the actual energy that the pineal gland brings to manifestation. So you see some of these Christian iconologies, especially in the Ezekiel's Merkaba mystery. You'll see several heads of beasts. You'll see several heads of beasts, but one of the heads is the head of a man. You understand what I'm saying? But the head of the man also represents that he too was also this particular beast. 6 protons, 6 electrons, 6 neutrons, which is carbon, which is melanin, but also the Sphinx, which is on the earth. But you'll see the head of the man, which is also talking about, the head of the man is also talking about the face of God, and the great face of God is always the pineal gland. So, the world where monsters walk on the wind and prowl the caverns beneath the earth's surface, and where beings were not bound by the limits of space and time, and used this planet for their playground. That is nothing but us. Before we fell into the physical, for their playground, and where history has no proof, and myth contrives to protect sanity. So here it is again, where history. No, excuse me. I'm sorry, I gotta slow down. Where history as we know it proves a myth contrived to protect our sanity. So in so many words, what we truly are is what you see when you see these particular demonic figures, and you see them in the movie In the Mouth of Madness, and you see it in all the movies where they go and fight against these evil. They're saying that the mythology actually was put here in human skies or mask to protect our sanity. Where humans discover that their own pursuits of the unknown, that they are themselves pursued by nameless horrors. So in actuality, when man starts to look for his soul, when he finds his soul, he's thinking he's looking at the devil because he's so removed into the matrix of what he really looks like, because he has this illusion until he's scared of his own soul. So here comes theology to come in and tell you, that's the damn devil. And you need to stick with that because they got a bunch of entrances up here that don't want your ass to rise. Now, so Dionysus is a symbol of the mask. He's also you'll see in there, he also presides in the world of the bewitched, which is the underworld or the subconscious. He is a mad god that drives you mad. Why do they call him a mad god? He's a mad god because once you find out, now Dionysus is the Christ. So once you really find out what this is, about like the mummy you saw in the movie and shit, when he really got going. You see what I'm saying? So Dionysus is the mad god because when you come in contact with him, you go mad because the simple fact you're still looking for a human existence. And your true self is these monstrous beings. You see what I'm saying? Dionysus is the element of moisture. This is all in the Dionysus mystery. So the moisture also represents that you need that water. And dehydration is the number one key of the government trying to keep you down. It's no water. You see what I'm saying? That's why our bill plates on everything, because alcohol dehydrates you too. You see what I'm saying? Dionysus is also interacts closely with women. So if you see Osiris, you'll also see him. He'll have Neptune on one side and he'll have Isis on the other side. Why is he interacting closer with women? Because they understand that he is from the Great Mother, and the woman down here is the only manifestation of the divine. You see, Dionysus is the god of strange drink and wine, which is also talking about, on the other hand, intoxication. Also, which is also talking about hallucination. It's talking about melanin also too, is what it's talking about. Now, let's get into this particular part here, based on this particular death matrix, or what's going on here. Let's get into this particular science. Okay. It's called life in death. Death is actually an entity. The knowledge of death in the book of the law, which is given to you by Awas or Rahir Pahudi in 1904, it says to know me is to know the knowledge of death. Death is on the tree of life, and it's interesting. The brother bought me a tree of life here. Well, it's different ones. But death on the tree of life would actually be this particular sphere called death or death on the tree of life. Now, as you know, this particular tree of life, we've showed it many times on the temple of Komombo in Hemmitt. And before it was Hebrew, it was actually Kemetic, or even goes even back further than that, But this particular death realm, or dark, is on the tree of life. Dark and death. That's why they had to kill this dark Ma'ul person. Dark Vader, then there's dark Ma'ul. This is dark right here, which is also the death spirit. So when you rise up, this is the spirit you get to, but as we go on, the cycles of the earth is also rising up too. So even though you might have a physical death, the realm that we are on, there's a realm that when we get to that particular realm is also called a death realm. Now let me explain this to you. That's why they had to lock up Dr. Kevorkian, but let me explain this to you. This particular cycle that we are in is a cycle that existed, and they came in USA Today last week, a week before last, and said, oh, we calculated the origin of the universe, and it's about 13 billion years. Well, number one, we have been on the planet 13 billion years. We might have not been in the physical form of 13 billion years. And maybe that we've been only in the physical 6,000 years, as the Bible says, 6,000 years is how long we've been into the physical realm. But we have been on the planet, like they say, we use this planet as a playground, 13 billion years. Based on even when they talk about when they calculated the amount of time that this particular universe, which is a universe that is barricaded off from the greater universe, which is the Great Mother. So this particular universe has been in existence about 13 billion years. So that particular cycle of 13 billion years, when the prior universe was broken down and the substance was used to make this universe and trap us in it, that particular universe became what is called the death realm. That means that the light was extinguished and it became the dark world, and death and darkness. Then this particular universe became the life realm because it had a life and a life extension of about 13 billion years. Okay? Now, if this particular universe is extinguishing, it's in its twilight period, and it's diminishing rapidly, then that's what you call death is actually life, because that particular part, as this particular cycle dies, then the particular realm of death is the entity that is now regenerated to come on again. You understand what I'm saying? So in so many words, the aspect of what we call death, when you used to die in the cycle when it was young, you either get trapped back in a reincarnation cycle based on a certain entities when you go towards the light. And that light you're there trapped. The other part, you would remain in the underworld, but it was somewhat like the realm that you saw in the Matrix, where it was kind of dismal and real dreary and stuff, that other side. magnificence here too. You can see this in the physical world where you in Buckhead, that motherfucker sweet. Soon as you pass 20 and go in this area here, a whole other dimension change. Like I said, old beat up old fucking cars and shit. Chevrolet Impalas and damn Buick Regals, 1980 and shit with no windows. You know, it's horrible. You know what I'm saying? Two existence and shit, you know. And it's another energy. The energy changes as soon as you get over here. You see what I'm saying? So all those white people over there, remember that they got all our architecture over there. There's some pyramids and shit on the buildings. It's cool. You go to Buckhead and all that shit is flat. It's in another world. It's nice and peaceful and easy going and shit. Although they got white people up in there, but we're talking about the energy based on the architecture. You come over here and shit, man, hell, you be ready to saw your goddamn leg off. You know what I'm saying? It's all kind of crazy shit. You might see somebody, you know what I'm saying? In a fucking damn lime green suit shit. You know? And just all kind of crazy stuff, you know what I'm saying? But so we even see parts of that in the physical world. So now going back to what I'm saying, this particular realm that we call the death realm is in actuality, it's like if the light is getting ready to blow out in this room. A few minutes before the filament in that bulb pops. The other room is the other room. There's a switch in the other room that's about to come on. That is about to come on. So in the Necronomicon mythology, they talk about, well, you got these other gods that came into being, these younger gods, and they had a life cycle. And they're about to go to sleep, and once they go to sleep, the other realm will take over. So the death realm that they're talking about is that particular realm. Let me get into some science on this particular part here. Two sides of life and death. All the life on this realm is used up. The death that we're talking about is the light in the other room. Now, there's a book that I want you to try to get. I don't know how you're going to get it, but let's put it this way. Because the book is in print, the name of the book is called Our Name is Melancholy by Leela Wendell. And it's called The Complete Books of Azrael. Our name is Melancholy. So you see the angel of death, that particular angel of death. You saw it in the movie Meet Joe Black. I told you Brad Pitt was playing the angel of death. That angel of death is Osiris.
They showed 3 black girls knock on the door, and some person came to the door and put the veil over them and brought them into this little initiation house on the campus of Yale, and they showed 2 black men. So I'm saying that they admitting these people up in there. You understand what I'm saying? Then again, you can understand when you can come in here and get a nigga like Clarence Thomas, or get my homeboy from I'm from Mullins, South Carolina. He's from like 20 miles out, a place called Britain's Neck, a place that's got like a filling station, and the damn police station is in the same damn, in the fucking Chevron, the police station right up in there, one sheriff and shit with a flashlight. He'd say, y'all all sleep? Anyway, his name is, what's my man's name? Armstrong Williams. Biggest Uncle Tom ever lived. You see what I'm saying? But you'll understand that all this shit is a fraternity. It's a fraternity of these doggone Negroes and stuff, you see. And then you can understand what this whole skull and bones thing is. Then again, you understand that one of the main people that's the opponent of this whole welfare bill was a black woman. The main woman that pushed this thing. You see what I'm saying? So they get the sister, you know, and she got a little natural hairdo. So that really messed a person up. You see somebody, she got a natural hairdo and stuff, and she looked like she came from Zimbabwe, you know. She looked like a Black Panther, and she's the main one pushing all this doggone ending affirmative action and all this kind of stuff here too. But then again, the Pharaoh has let you go. But it was interesting that was funny. That was funny that this particular part. Now.
Those persons who stand out front seem to be against the seemingly against the rest of our people, do they be clones or do they be just...
Some of them clones, and so, but see, you got to realize what our people now. Our people now are so, what you would call degenerated. And we could say this till now, the average person got their price. Just be realistic about it. There ain't got to be no damn clones. Our people are evil now. They said it even on like Muhammad said, you have been made devils also. And our people are the devil. Now, I ain't being funny with this mess, because I've been talking to that beautiful black people shit 4 years now. But I'm telling you the doggone truth, our people, man, are the devil. Now, we understand that we are the devil based on social conditioning and black insanity and black psychology, that our minds are turned around, and we got his computer chip in our head, too. You understand what I'm saying? Like he said, I'm gonna make you me. So he takes his mind and put in us, and our brain becomes in opposition to the body. So when I see a person black, I'm automatically against it. So that's the milling process that came out of slavery, but it don't make no fool about it. Still yet, as a man thinketh, so is he or she. And I tell you, our people, man, our people are the, like I said, when I went down to the jailhouse and I saw sisters processing criminals, and it was just like they was working at the ticket line at McDonald's, or just like they was getting a hamburger. They was processing and talking about TV and talking about the game, and it was matching fingerprints and clicking people, and it didn't even faze them. It was like robots. And I said, damn, ain't a white person in here. And I just sit back and observe, and they was talking to black people like dogs. This ain't no goddamn hotel up in here. Sit your ass down. I said, hell, the man already in jail. They was talking to people like dogs. Now I'm saying this is just jail. These people here haven't been found guilty yet. Because this stuff is before you even go to trial. They was treating people like dogs. And I said, wait a minute. And I said, wait a minute. I said, this is the last phase of our people. Our people have to go totally against themselves. That's what they're talking about Israel in the wilderness for 40 years. You see what I'm saying? Our people got to be turned inside out, and we talk about the doggone hatred. So now, he know what our people do. He know what our people do. And there's one other thing, too. All they got to do is give you a fucking award. He give you Academy Award. That's why you think he's passing out them gold medals. If they give them people them gold medals. They go so deeper into being accepted into the man's society until they'll kill their mama just for that thing. You see what I'm saying? That's just like they're saying your boy, his mama on TV, say he don't give her no money, Larry Fishburne. He making millions now. You don't have nothing to do with her. You see?
I heard one of your tapes where you said that persons would be morally, if they had the morals right, I think.
Yeah.
They would go up and shoot up to the gun. I forgot how you say it.
Yeah, we're going to get with that.
I wouldn't say that.
Yeah.
What I want to say to you is this, okay? Since you said also that the Europeans were given more time to get morally right, and therefore it seems like our people were given more time to get morally decadent. Well, that doesn't seem so fair to me that an end of an era or whatever's going to happen is going to happen when our people are so moral.
Well, see, let's look at this part. First of all, the reason why they gave them more time is because our people in 1914, or you say 1904, the Book of Law, was a zombie damn near. So you even had to give black people enough time in the 50s, the 60s, and the 70s just to know they black, just to even know they got a damn struggle. You see what I'm saying? The biggest thing in a nigga life in the 1930s is the way he could tap dance real good. You see what I'm saying? Our people were crazy. Now, as far as that, in actuality, if you go back to any Bible or anything, remember now, the Redeemer comes, which could be within you. See, we're not talking about some Redeemer that you getting off the street or some Redeemer that you getting out of the sky, because that Redeemer is within you. The Redeemer comes when you at the last hour, at your last stage. Let me show you what I'm talking about the generation. My man went to Egypt in 1992, 91. And he said it hurt him so bad that every temple he went to, they had these Africans tied up. He said, no, I don't want to hear no shit. I want to know why the hell is that on there. And everywhere they had these Africans tied up in bondage. And then I saw something on TV the other week, and I'm quite sure that the white man showed it because he want to show this thing. They showed, I think it was Maasai. Wasn't it Maasai, Ginger? It was some other kind of thing. Let me tell you this here. They showed these women. They showed them put this animal out here. They stripped the skin off this animal. And they show these women get on their legs like dogs, and they run up to the animal, not a cooked animal, a raw animal, and they eat his flesh out. It was the Maasai, which is they can trace them monks back to Egypt. And they was eating this dog, they was eating this animal's flesh with blood all over their face like savages. You understand what I'm saying? Remember now, we had to be made a nothing people. You understand what I'm saying? The Europeans was in caves. The next thing you know, we were sent to caves. Oh, all the black people, isn't in barbarism. Barbarism. It's a barbarism on another level, but we had all kind of humanity up in the 60s and things like this, and certain things like this and stuff. We had certain amount of things back in the day, but we just didn't do a certain amount of things. You see what I'm saying? We was taught. Now you got teenagers, man, that don't even know. You go to the checkout line and they checking you out and stuff, and then all of a sudden they don't even say thank you. And it's not because they being wrong. It's just that they don't understand the concept of shit like that. Once in a while, small stuff. So we're saying that this here based on the degeneration. The degeneration is good. It's good. That's saying you must be born again or you must die. That's called putrefaction. Putrefying. You have to rot. And from the rot, so you have to rot from the Negro that you are, you gotta die. You see, you gotta die and come a new person, that new God. So what you are seeing with black people is actually the degeneration. The degeneration, which is actually illumination. Shekinah, which is the lowest sphere of the Kabbalah, which is the earth. Now my point is this. The Shekinah, which is also a form of Lilith, is also a form of Shekinah, the fallen Shekinah, the daughter in exile. But it's also called a kingdom. The earth is also called a kingdom on the Kabbalah. Now, Shekinah is connected with the higher worlds of emanation and with the unholy forces of something called the Sitra Aura. The Sitra Aura is called the evil dark side, the demonic, unholy reality which becomes powerful in the wake of human sin. This is what's coming from the Kabbalah. Sin is an immortality, breaks down the matrix. In so many words, the Israel sinned when they made the golden calf. The golden calf is dealing with alchemy. You got the red dragon, the green dragon, the golden calf. All that shit is dealing with alchemy. They sinned when they made the golden calf, tapping into melanin and alchemy. Then the Israelites was punished for the same thing, as in the aspect of the book of Enoch. Azazel comes down and he teaches man so-called sorcery. to work with stones and to cut roots. You say, you know, that's all based on alchemy. So in so many words, these gods up here, they say you can do anything but don't tap into the tree of life. Or the tree of knowledge, which is alchemy. So they say they punished them when they made the golden calf. That's all dealing with alchemy. You see what I'm saying? Alchemy. The Citra Horus is the demonic forces and also is equal with the angel of death. God said, I got a problem with this. So how the hell you are the God of the living and not the God of the dead, when ultimately everything is supposed to go back to death? So I mean, in so many words, what we're talking about is we got some angelic force as well as some priesthood telling you to not to deal with death, not to deal with the dark side, and to stay away from some stuff. But when you break this thing down, they're talking about don't deal with alchemy. You see, the movie Matrix is explained that the first Matrix, you see in the movie, the first Matrix, it says, was destroyed because we could not do what? Man could not keep his primitive cerebral cortex down, which is your kundalini energy. Remember he said that? You got to go back. He said the first Matrix was all perfect. It had everything you all needed, but man could not keep his primitive cerebral cortex down. That's talking about this particular kundalini energy. You see. Now, I want to show you something here. Now, in the Zohar, they said Egypt. They said that Egypt, I want to get the particular part, yeah. In the Zohar, they say that the Citra Hara, or the Citra Aura, which is supposed to be the dark side of the tree, is known as Egypt, or Hemmitt. That's what the Citra Hara is. But the guy in one of the Kabbalahs I got, he goes on and says, he goes on as much as to say that that the Citra Hara in Egypt, they say, well, why is this thing connected with Egypt? He goes in and said that Egypt was messing with alchemy, and this was the alchemical practice of Hemmitt that we know of as sorcery. You see what I'm saying? So in so many words, they got this campaign that is going on for the last 2,000 years for you to turn against alchemy that they call sorcery, as well as they call that Satan. You turn against your own essence and your own self. 1996. The star is a woman by the name of Joanna Going. She also starred in the movie Phantoms, Dean Koontz Phantoms, who was one of the girls that was in the movie. But she's in a movie called Eden. And in this movie, she basically has multiple sclerosis, and she's limping, and she doesn't have long before her body deteriorates. But she's walking and all. She's walking with a limp and all, and she's married to a guy. They live on the campus of this prep school, and the guy's an egomaniac, like most white guys, and he's real conservative and real strict and all, and he literally takes the students through a hard time. But anyway, her body is failing her as far as she's going to get to the point where she has to be in a wheelchair and all this thing. But in the course of her sickness, she learned how to astral travel. So as a result, she gets to a certain point that she leaves her body for like a month or so, and she goes in this coma. And the whole time she's on the astral plane. She's on the astral plane. Meanwhile, while she's up there on the astral plane, she's witnessing the freedom of being outside of her body. Then she gets to the point, she said, I don't know if I want to return to my body, because it might be to the point whereas it will be so damaged or whatever But she realized one thing about being up there for a certain period of time on the astral plane, because her body was laying in a coma or whatever. And she realized one thing. She said, I'm beginning to find out that I am literally being dissolved back into the fabric of the universe, and I will have no conscience at all. Now, first of all, that's the difference between you and white people. Because it's a lower frequency and all, they just be dissolved back into there where they just become a part of the nothing. The nothingness. By us being the nothingness, which is the absolute, our consciousness or our essence is forever. Energy can never be created or destroyed. So she decides she's going to try to go back in the body, but it's so badly damaged, she's deciding, well, I might as well just get dissolved. But what made her go back was she found out her husband did love her, because that was one reason why she was in the coma. And so basically, when she found out that her husband loved her, he told her so, standing over her body, she decided to go back.
The name,
But
the name of it is
Eden,
Eden.
Joanna Going. But the point I'm trying to make here is this. And I'll give you the information on how this thing came about. I used to be a student of C. Freeman L. as far as meditation student. My other knowledge is basically my research, but his knowledge is based on by the way of the meditation, and basically he was trained through the Yogananda or the yogi system, not just necessarily Yogananda, but all of the whole yogi system. But I saw the whole yogi thing as a form of contradiction, because I said, well, why is it that they fucking around with all these white people? You see what I'm saying? Also, I realized also too, we got all these hundreds of people meditating, and so-called Tibetans and the yogi people, and I say, well, hell, for all these people so-called meditating, and meditating is supposed to be the thing to turn the world around, and you got damn people in Tibet, and I'm talking about black people, it's been meditating for 40, 50 years, and ain't shit happening.
Right.
What the hell going on here? Then I'm like, what the hell going on here? In Bangladesh is one of the poorest places on the planet. Yet they're supposed to have all this. And then I realized that in actuality, there was a separation from the ancient Vedic system, which is the untouchables of the pre-Aryan, or what we would say, because the original Aryans are black too, don't let nobody fool you, but the pre-Indo-Europeans who later on called themselves Aryans when they got in touch with the original Aryans of that thing, which was black people. So the Indo-Europeans came down, merged with the original Aryans, and started calling themselves Aryans. So the original Aryans are black people. And over the course of years, this whole thing got muddled as far as the knowledge got dwindled down into basically it's a more advanced religion, but it's a religion in the aspect that they are dealing with another system than the original Vedic people that inhabited that land, and that was your Dravidian people, which goes all the way back to the African thing. You see what I'm saying? The yogis and the Tibetans that do all of this particular, my damn wheels came off my shoe. I must have, whatever. A damn $160 shoe and shit fucker just as bad, you know, all of it is sale. You know. But anyway, the Tibetans, but I didn't pay that much for them, but I'm just saying, you know what the cracker charge, you know. But the Tibetans, you know, I've got the hookup, but but it's still all just cheap junk, man. They just put them on the high price tag on the shit. But the Tibetans, they do all this particular meditation and all this system and all this yogi thing and all, and supposedly they're supposed to be ascended masters. Well, it took me a while to figure this out. If the earth was here in the beginning, what the fuck are you ascending to? See what I'm saying?
Well,
All this ascension shit. This is all the white new age. Ascension, ascension, ascension. Well, if this is the command module, if this is the central location of all there is, what the hell you ascending to? You see. And then you understand why the Egyptians or the Canaanites and pre-cultures of before 2,000 years always talked about going to the underworld. You see what I'm saying? As well as its connection with death. So what we have here is we got two systems. One that was developed later on. And yes, they do descend. They do ascend, excuse me. And what we're talking about here is this. About the meditation things, and you must be clear on what's going on. They do all this meditation. And like I said, I was a part of all this, but they do all of this, but they miss one thing. You can misdirect the energy within your mindset, and you can go from one path to the other path. And what's happening is this. They are able to break the physical illusion of the earth, which is the physical earth, and they are seeing, and they go on the astral plane. But that particular astral plane is just another series of illusions. Although it might not be physical, it's another series of illusions. So you might have these different dimensions and these planes, but it's only a plane of existence or an illusionary plane. The New Age movement is trying to get everybody to ascend. But the ancient royal art of ancient Hemmitt, which is alchemy, and the ancient mystery systems of the ancient Mesopotamian, Egyptian, and African world was always talking about a mentor, which is the land of Amen, the hidden god, is the underworld. So you got two different systems that's going on. Y'all getting this? One is a system that was put in place by the so-called divas. The divas, and I'm going to go deeper into some other mythology in a few minutes. And those divas put in place an astral plane. And the astral plane is these different dimensions of the existence of the known universe. But remember, this particular universe has an origin. And by it having an origin, because it wasn't in the beginning, ultimately it is not the ultimate reality. The left-hand path of the underworld path, of the dark side path, is a different system, which is talking about the overthrow of the whole entire universe to the original inhabitants, which in actuality, in a course of being shut down so long, it becomes new. I didn't get a chance to, don't have the overhead, but don't matter about that. I didn't get a chance to make an overlay out of it anyway, a transparency. But I want to show you this. Y'all all right?
Yeah.
Y'all all right now? So I want y'all to get some of these. We got this, a few of these Egyptian doorways. You need to get them, man, because that's going to be some power. You need to get all this stuff. And that there's protection. You need some protection. St. Martha can do it. Okay? You know. And this Kuan Yin, very key now. Let's talk about your heart chakra. Your heart chakra. And this here is the one you want on your side, the God Hemmitt. Get into that. I talked about him the last time. And then nobody brought the picture. And I said, oh, you hear it again. That's what he does. He hides from the ones who ain't worthy of buying the pictures. You see, real powerful warrior. Now I want to show you something here. Put that back in a minute. But now, I'm going to draw this for you. words. Rituals of power. And it's got the word I-C-X. It's supposed to X us. I want to show you this. And it's got another one here. It's two roosters. This is an ancient text. This is the ancient thing. And it's translated, these words are translated. Translate these words. It's translated Jesus Christ. You got two roosters. This is a recipe. This is an ancient recipe of how you cook chicken. I'm going to show you something here, how the spirit works. Okay, there's a book called The Gnostic View. Show you this picture. Y'all alright? I'm going to bring this home to you. Gnostic Union. Check this out. I'm going to show you this book here on the Gnostic text. The Gnostic Messiah coming out of Egypt, it used to be a hawk-headed mythical lord. Hawk-headed mythical lord, or mystical lord, called Horus. And in the later day Egyptians produced one which was a chicken or a rooster. Another picture, his name is Abraxas. Now, Abraxas. Then this recipe show up on these ancient texts coming out of ancient Hemmitt of a little rooster. And I'm saying, everything is everything. These people can look thousands of years into the future. And it might not be an accident why you so fond of the damn barnyard pig. The chicken. Because the chicken in ancient Kemet was named Jesus Christ. Let me show you something here. All y'all vegetarians.
Hold on, Bobby.
Easy there.
One brother was getting real weak. And he got back on there barnyard pimple. And he gained all those shrimp back. Now there's a difference between the physical world and the spiritual world. Here's an ancient Egyptian recipe for chicken. Of all things. And I'm telling you, this recipe for chicken that they got in this ancient Coptic magic, in the magical text, they dug up in 1945 in Nag Hammadi, Egypt. The recipe for chicken is what they're trying to say here is, this is a magical cure-all. Now, let's go back. Let's go back now. They ran a special in the spring of the year called American Eats on the History Channel. And they showed all the food in this country and how it got here. I think I was here the last time I told you that they didn't even get real Chinese food here until 1972 or 3 after Nixon visited China. All that stuff that they were serving was Bruce Leroy's. And they were serving that to white folks. None of that was real until 1972. That's when Chinese food even got here. Now, but an American Eats, when they went to chicken, they said the chicken originated with the slaves. That's how it was learned to be cooked. And the slaves, they needed a male meal. And they said not only that, they said it really took hold
when black people were not allowed on the premises and in restaurants, and they had to eat on the street. So the lunch bucket was a black thing for people in segregation, and they said one thing that they could do that would keep and wouldn't spoil after you cook it was some chicken. So they would give them some chicken, an apple, and a banana, or orange and banana, and some fruits and some stuff like that, and the chicken. And this is what the white man said. Now what I'm trying to tell you is this. What I'm trying to tell you is this. It's got something to do with this right here. And a magical talisman. Now, one brother, a brother named Rudra, you know, he was a vegetarian for 14 years. I used to be vegetarian. You see what I'm saying? He was a vegetarian for 14 years. I'm not talking against vegetarians. And my point is, for those people that are vegetarians, ain't no sense in you going back. I mean, you done got that much practice in it. You know what I'm saying? Y'all might well just go ahead and just be miserable. I mean, it's kind of stupid, you know. So I ain't trying to advocate nothing here, but what I'm trying to tell you is this. Now let me show you metaphysical. This brother was vegetarian for 14 years, and he got back on when he got back on the chicken recently, and it was a spirit thing. Now, let me explain what I'm talking about here. In the spirit world, your soul might call for something. Your soul say, no, I don't need them giblets, them little nuts and barley and berry and all this kind of thing here, berries and all this stuff here. I need something that's pleasing to the soul. And as a result, I can regenerate the elixirs in the body and regenerate the cells based on what you give me as a jump, as something. It's almost like an exciting, something like something that's pleasing to the soul. It's just like when women fall in love, their cells start to regenerate. And you see this, you got that glow about you, even men. That's because of an alchemical process that go on. You understand what I'm saying? Alchemical processes going on. And now you look, you go to some of the worst looking people now, with all the melanin, is the black woman. You go to Atlanta, they tore up from the floor up, like they said, like they've been sucking exhaust fumes. And they got all this melanin stuff, and what it is they're not receiving love, so their body is shutting down. Because the black woman was made to receive love.
Now, like I say, we're going to go on back. So we get past the separatism. Because all the separatism is the same doggone things, just black people doing it in different schools. We're going to go beyond that. So now, therefore, when y'all come up and challenging stuff, or somebody want to challenge this stuff here, you better know something about the stuff that's older than what you claim to say is the oldest in the world. See what I'm saying? And that's how we do it. Now, and I'm going to explain how this thing broke down. The Draconian cult, Draconian or Typhonian, is a cult of the dragon of the deep space, which brought to earth the Ophidian current, worshipped by the ancient Typhonians of Egypt under the symbol of Apep, the dragon. Now, all you got to do is go and check the Chinese people out. They got a whole lot of dragons. You go up in the restaurant and you see these dragons, right? That's because the Chinese people got some of the older stuff of the time when all the people that used to live in Asia was black people. That myth survived, right? You see these dragons. Now, we right on schedule now, look. The dragon cult flowered the primal African mysteries that occurred in ancient Egypt in the pre-monumental times. Now, what's the breakdown here? What's the breakdown here? The breakdown is this. I got a little passage in an out-of-print book. I want to deal with this part. This is what happened. The breakdown is when Dr. Ben, John Henry Clark, and all of the people were allowed to study their history, the cracker had already, since 1907, locked down all the stuff pre-monumental Egypt. Monumental Egypt is the part that dealing at King Menes, Norma, they call him, came in where you say your dynastic Egypt. You understand what I'm saying? Right before then, stuff started getting vague. You don't know. White men say, I don't understand how can a civilization blow up like this overnight. They say that all the rest of the stuff is locked out. Now this is what's dealing with the whole roster thing. Because now this is a history of ancient Ethiopia, which the Kushite Empire reached all across Africa. It wasn't just the one in the Horn of Africa. And it was one landmass at that time, so Africa was Europe and all that stuff. So now we're talking about, people say, well, I want to know what was before then. If you have established, based on Manetho said, that you had 3,000 years in the dynastic period, and you had a close to 10,000 years on the earth, and they asked him what happened before 10,000 years, and he said that's when the damn gods used to rule. See what I'm saying? And we need to know something about that science. Now, what happened was in 1907, Gerald Massey, in the late 1800s, went into the British Museum. He had this black woman, Sekhmet, that came to him in the spirit. Gerald Massey was an ancient black man that appeared to be white. His lineage come from the Druids that built Stonehenge, which was black people. Your Celtics and your Celtics, Druids, was black people. The white man claimed that because it's only in Europe. Well, how the hell the white man going to have a system that worshiped Isis and Osiris when he was in the damn cave? And his history didn't start till Greece, after he took that from ancient black people. The Greek language was derived from black people. We'll go into that in a few minutes. You see. So now Gerald Massey went in there. She told him you was a black man, and she said all the other Egyptologists, they're going to go in and they're going to start lying. They're going to start lying and saying, oh, you print the truth. So Gerald Massey went in, and because he had the spiritual guide in there, she started showing him the ancient Draconian and Typhonian stuff. So he recorded that. And when he recorded that, it was so beyond Egypt until they said it ain't nothing but black. So they said, well, first of all, what we're going to do is we're going to lock all that out. So after 1907, they locked that stuff down. And the Egyptologists that came in after that, they studied mainly the Egyptian stuff starting 3,000 years ago. A little bit maybe before that, close to 5,000. But they only studied that. The other stuff they locked down. They said, we're only going to teach it in the occult. You see what I'm saying? We're only going to teach it in the occult. Now, that's called the dark side. That's because all the stuff then was black. Now, what you have been learning for the last 3,000 years is the day side. I'm going to show you what the day side is. Everybody know what the yin and the yang symbol is. Everybody know, raise your hand. If you don't know, that's the Kung Fu symbol where you got a black side and a white side, for those people don't know. Everybody know what the Kung Fu symbol is, right? Now, you got the day side, which is the light side. You got the other side, that is the black side. You get the light from the dark, right? In your later religions, you hear the day side, which is the Christ. And everything is based on the day righteous side. The dark side is the actual science on where the light comes from. In the beginning, there was darkness in the light. So your religions that they have been controlling the world basically was on the day side. Now, the cracker said this. They got all the stuff in the British Museum. They said, now we're going to get these niggas. And this is how we're going to run the world. Let's say you got a car out here, and you see it's mainly aluminum. Used to be tin, but now aluminum, and fiberglass. But that is nothing but the shell that harnesses the energy. The energy is the gas and the battery, right? And the battery is made up of what? It's made up of black carbon. The gas comes from oil, and what the fuck does all crude oil come from? Carbon. Okay? They say, so now the energy in this car, you looking at the vehicle.
That's putting the cart before the horse. The vehicle is nothing because it don't work efficiently unless you understand something about the eternal combustion and the whole workings of the fuel is in it, the battery and the gas. You understand what I'm saying? Yeah. So, in the religions, they give you the day side, which the light, which is the Christ light, manifests from the dark. You understand what I'm saying? But they understand if you study the day side and you never deal in the dark side, which is the fuel that makes the light side, basically your religion will only be a fundamentalist type of religion where you just understand good moral teachings. But the real juice you don't get. Understand? Then they say, now how we going to do? We're going to put the rest of the stuff in the white occult. And we're going to put it under the banner of Satanism, witchcraft, and occultism, which you all thinking is some spooked out stuff, and it's your ancient black knowledge. So now I bring the occult, and all of a sudden that nigga there going to hell. You don't understand how the cracker was able to rule you. See what I'm saying? You got to understand this stuff, because ain't no such thing as no Satanism or no witchcraft. Witchcraft comes from Wicca, which means wise one, where the white women was practicing the mysteries of Isis in Europe and got burned from the stake. That's black magic, come from those black people's magic. Okay? You understand what I'm saying? Witch comes from the word vitch. And the word vitch comes from the word bitch, after the dog star, Anubis. The bitch in summertime, the bitch in heat, which is the dog star that rises in the summertime and brings life to the planet. The bitch. You get the word vitch, and then you get the word witch. It's talking about those ancient science, which was powerful because the woman, she does her mystery system. She can do stuff with the menstrual blood and bring more power. All this stuff is our sacred power. See what I'm saying? So now, this draconian stuff I'm talking about is the battery stuff. Okay? Now, let's go on. We're going to deal with some religion here. The original God is the god Soot, which means the black one. The black one. But you can't get this from Miss Ann and doggone Beaver Cleaver. I said it this. Collies, Shaktis, Ojas, Gunners, and Russers. Now, let me explain one other thing also too, because there is a guideline to the structure in the world of Bobby Hemmitt as a metaphysical lecturer. Now, if anybody followed my tapes, I am into metaphysics, but I am also into what is called eschatology, which means end-time events. And eschatology not a belief system, we don't find at a certain time that the world is going to go on for the next 1,000 years. That's why they got the white boy up in here that's giving us the possibility that we don't know where our next move is. So in a strategy of war, me personally, if anybody has ever seen, everything is already, see, when you're talking to me, I make it clear that I believe that the end time is upon us. Now, it might be 9 years that I've been speaking, but I believe when you're in war, normal life cease to exist. You don't do things in peacetime that you do in wartime. Now, and I make it clear, see, it's not really out of context because everyone knows that Bobby Hemmitt is a metaphysical lecturer of the occult and of eschatology end times event. That's what I've been about a track record for the last 9 years. Now the key is this. Is this. I am just as well as needed in discussing this thing in the way I discuss this as any other historian or any other person talking about diet and all this kind of thing here, because what we're talking about here, we're talking about a college, we're talking about a university. A university is not one monolithic system. And whether we can be in the romanticism, and I think New York, and I'll explain this why I say that. New York and probably Chicago are rare places in the aspect of, because this is the birthplace of black culture, period. Harlem was the capital of black America. And because this is the birthplace of all forms of black protest, black culture, somehow, in some kind of way, the Afrocentric community becomes in a box. They think that black people are on the rise only because they see conscious people all the time. They think it's a consciousness around the world, but that's only in the world that we find ourselves in. For the majority of people, consciousness in the black community is still 0 point something. It's not even 1%, 5%, 2%. When you think about the amount of black people, we're talking about in the rest of the country, you can go 2 months without finding one person with any common sense that even ask the question on what the hell is going on. See what I'm saying? So, sometimes we think that this thing can last another 1,000,000 years because we find individuals in our circles that's thinking of like minds, but that's still a micro percent. That's not the masses of the people. Meanwhile, let's look at the white man. We said, well, you know, we got a long time, we had war. Well, we suggested that the food that we eat now is not even, the animals have been dead. Most of all that is cloned. This man has got cloning. This man is killing 75 million Africans, 75,000 Africans a month on the continent of Africa. And we don't have no movements, or we don't even have power in these movements to even stop it. See what I'm saying? Now, this white boy is doing things on such a grotesque form till in actuality it has to be a form of mind control to even think that we even have a future. Now, when you look at the structure that is put out before us, I'm not talking about the people going to jail and all that kind of thing here and stuff, although we got more of that stuff going on. Those patterns have been going on since the damn 1800s. And they just doggone elevated and escalated. But we can see these patterns going on since the 50s, the 60s, and the 70s. We have always been doggone victims of those particular things that the greater black community has gone under. But we're talking about things that's much more severe than that. Right. And what it is the white boy's technology now has gone to a certain level. So he has the technology to make it think it is 1965. And that there's still a black community and we have basic common struggles, when in actuality it's a much more nightmare than that. You see what I'm saying? We have to even ponder the fact that most people, if they go into prison, that might not be the person that come out of prison. If they do come out of prison, might not even be the same people. We're talking about things that's on such a horrific level that whether somebody's a hoe is doggone minor. Now, I'm just trying to show you, because I'm not really trying to counter what you're saying. What I'm trying to do is just trying to show you that in actuality, based on what I do, I'm not talking, see, based on what I do, it's just like you said about, it's no different than what Walter Williams. You said some people have certain structure in the way they look like, they had history, and all those people had almost a consensus after a while. Then here he comes in talking about something alternative, and nobody don't know where to turn to. You understand what I'm saying? Nobody don't know where to turn to. Meanwhile, I come in and basically I spurn new thought by just giving you the old ways. It's not as if that I'm going to give somebody some kind of thing that we haven't done. Now, what I'm trying to say is this here. In the mythology of Sheba and Horus, if we say we want Horus, we want Heru. It's like jazz music. What's the name said this? He said that, Wynton Marsalis made a great statement. He said this jazz music, it's not going to come to you. You're going to have to come to it, and that's when you get the benefits. Now there's a method in the madness to what I was saying. So what I'm trying to say is this here. Now you know that we got to clean this thing up. Because even when they do things that hideous to us, it's Sunday and it's 1970 as usual. We go on with life and like ain't nothing happened. Even though we have some inkling. My brother came up here in 1992. And all around Port Authority was bombs. Came up in 1994, 2 years later, and all of them gone. When I'm at Reverend Valentine's place, a sister approached me and said, I was there the day they came and picked up these people and put them in these trucks and hauled them off. See what I'm saying? What do you think they are? But we just figured they just relocate them or put them in jail because we don't know. Them people are dead. And it's right up under our nose, and this is amazing. My brother's laying in his bed, him and his wife, in Atlanta, and they hear fucking train tracks moving and trains moving up under their damn house. Most of all these cities, they got underground cities. It's like another dimension. I go to Philadelphia, and we turn a sister on. She didn't even know she could channel, but the energy was so strong until them spirits came through that sister, and they used that sister like a TV set. And they just started naming all the abandoned, closed down hospitals, closed down courthouses, and all these type of places in Philadelphia that they got black people packed up like fucking sardines, experimenting on them, snatching them off the damn street. Any time you see abandoned places, old warehouses and all that type of stuff, that's where they got it. Now, I went in Atlanta and located the damn place where they taking the goddamn people. I know where the shit is. I put two and two together. They got this main railroad track that runs straight down the middle that separates the black community from the white community in Atlanta, up Northside Drive. So I said that train track has got to be the place where they do it. This is what happens. I know that if a train track leads to a shipping yard where there's construction going on, You think that they putting gravel and all kind of bricks and shit in there. In the middle of that is where they putting niggas' ass on these trains and shipping them out. They got a construction yard. It's funny, they got a black community. And then they just got this big industrial shipping yard on one side of the black community. And right there in that middle is where they're putting black people on the train. We even located the place. And they ship them right out of Atlanta on trains to concentration camps and pack them in and use them for doggone melatonin pills. And slave camps and all the other shit like that too. You see, that's some amazing shit. Give me some questions. That these are disciplines that came out of the 16 universities in Europe that was set up by the Moors. So in so many words, all your scotch, your bourbons, your brandies, your gins, and even into your American whiskeys and Canadian whiskeys are disciplines that were given to the European by the Moors. So you learn something new every day. You see what I'm saying? So this is African art. It's an African art. It's about like that. About like the story of it's about like the story of going down on somebody. You know what I mean by that? Oral sex, to be to be official. We thought that was a white thing, but there's a whole, and once you start learning about history and learning historical things on how things come to be, and basically the last 14, 15 years, we have learned several things that we thought the origin came from European, come to find out that they came from Africa anyway, like the damn suit coat comes from Nigeria. A white man clothes, and they even said, well, hell, we even had to teach them how to dress. You see, so we find that there's more and more things that we just think that they are new inventions and all, or whatever. I don't know if you would call that an invention. Somebody said, guess what I invented? But the point here is this, to give you a bit of history on how things come to be. Now, we know that Richard Pryor had his Bicentennial Negro album in 1976, and he had the joke up in there that no black man will admit to even going down on somebody. No, no, no. And we know that that was taboo up until the damn near the mid-'80s, where you get somebody go, oh yeah, well, it's common, whatever. But the problem here is we thought it was something done by the white boys. That's because when we get certain things, we just think that some things is just done by the Europeans. But what happened was a bit of history on this particular aspect, on how this whole thing went down. Number one, it is an ancient tantric art called Kunalin, or Kunaling is the word for it, and it's on all the temple walls in India. You see, on all the temple walls in India, as well as they got a papyrus in Berlin that they got out of Hemmitt, where they're doing all kind of freaky stuff, out of Egypt. I have to preface that to say, because what we're going to get into today is going to be some real racist stuff. But we thought that just give you a bit of history on how things are lost, and then when we refine them or rediscover them, we think that somebody else is the person who originated that. So what happened was this. The Europeans colonized India. And what, in the 1800s, I think in the 1800s, they finally colonized India. And they got a hold to the Kama Sutra, the British. The British colonized India. They got a hold to the Kama Sutra, which is the book of sexual practices, which opened the West up to the sexual tantra, the ancient divine and ancient arcane arts of the sexual practices. So they got in touch with, so they colonized India. Now what happened is this. When they colonized India, they got the Kama Sutra, and it became a phenomenon in Britain. So they was doing all of those sexual positions, and one of the things that was in the Kama Sutra was the Kunaling of the Kunaling, which is going down on somebody, oral sex. So the tradition broke out in Britain, and then later on crossed over to the Atlantic, and we saw it, we thought it was a white boy thing. And by us being in slavery and everything taboo, and we being basically a fundamentalistic people, we thought it was the white boy thing, and we don't know that the white boy was copying us. You see what I'm saying? So just as though, you got all kind of different religious people saying, oh, that's not African, for the simple fact, some people be saying that's not African and never do the damn homework to even find out what the hell is African or what is ancient. So nothing is new under the sun, only that which has been forgotten. But if you notice, that is the reality that we're dealing with now, that these particular subjects, when I can start talking about murder and talk about any kind of thing under the sun for damn near 9 years, and then all of a sudden in 2000, I start talking about sex, and they say, Bobby done lost his damn mind. Something that everybody has done, you see what I'm saying, at one time or another, and something that your parents have done, because why would you even be here? You see what I'm saying? But all of a sudden, people couldn't take it. That is because we now are more like the 19th century Victorian British, and the 19th century Victoria British is like the ancient African were now. Well, is like the ancient African was now. You see? So we're talking about we are more on an Amish Puritan state. You see, this religion has basically shut us down until we're talking about a divine rebellion that has to take place even in your mind. So you don't have to become freaky. That's not the point. You know what I'm saying? Society probably won't allow that. But they don't have to doggone control your mind. So at least become freaky in the mind. Because we're talking about a metaphysical act. We're talking about overhauling different concepts that shut you down spiritually. You see what I'm saying? Now the ones that can somehow, like they say, reality is only what you can get away with. And that's basically the way it is. Your boy, what's his name? Got a book out on that. Did the Cosmic Trigger. Robert Anton Wilson. There's a book called Reality is Only What You Can Get Away With. And basically that's what it is. So basically, I'm going ahead of myself, but in so many words, we have to change the concept of our mind and basically expand our mind to try to understand some things.